Many of us have hopes for what retirement holds, but sometimes our families have other plans. Today, I'm meeting with John and Chandi Owen, who downsized their home and looked forward to adventure on the open road. This chapter is about building a legacy that goes beyond how much they leave behind. It's about the memories they make along the way. Where did you guys start coming together as you started forming your lives?
I had accounting class in university with their mother.
Oh.
So I've known my mother-in-law longer than I've known my wife.
Wow.
To be fair, my mother went back to college, so it's not like you were my mother's age.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
like 20 years older than her.
She just made the connection. She knew exactly what you might want, Chandi.
Yes.
How did that change the way you thought about finances as kids entered the picture?
We always wanted to have our kids in private schools. We made a decision together.
We're going to set you up for the best possible chance of getting a scholarship. Provided coaches and schooling and all the things that they needed to have that opportunity.
We told them, we may or may not be able to put you through university as well as private schools.
Both of you were having a lot of success in your careers. How did you manage the differing priorities of the financial goals that you had for your future?
Looking back, you're planning of schools and future, and suddenly, instead, not just two of us, all those things, when they come into the picture, it's a little bit intimidating at first, but I feel like having the money to be able to put aside for that really helped.
You can't control everything about the future. The unexpected is going to happen. Would you say that there were some unexpected events that did eventually pop up as you were growing your family over time, having kids, building your careers?
I went through a corporate bankruptcy and started with a company. 12 months later, we went bankrupt. We have managed to time real estate together very poorly. Like every time there's a real estate downturn, we seem to be right in the middle of it. After that, we started our own company for 5 years, and that's personal money, personal guarantees, personal risk.
How prepared did you feel at the time to deal with the decisions that are going to be thrown your way when it could be the most challenging times to make decisions?
I don't think you're ever prepared, fully.
We have protections in place. We have a trust. We have retirement savings, and what happens, happens.
I think over the years, having lost so much in homes, it gives me more faith that we'll weather whatever comes.
I just don't spend a lot of time worrying about things I can't see.
You had this moment that enlightened you in a way to start defining wealth as more than just money. What inspired the change for you?
About 10, 15 years ago, I went to a funeral of a former boss. The people that I worked with, most of them were much older than I was, but just the physical shape that these people were in was horrible. They did nothing but work. And it struck me that's like, geez, what were they doing that for? Are they doing that just to accumulate? And it just was this revelation moment that says, if you do the same thing, you're going to wind up like them. Life's not about how much stuff you can gather. It's about experiences that you can have.
We had some really nice stuff. And we could have held on to that stuff and lost a lot of adventures. Our family refers to it as a great purge of 2023.
And we missed none of it, honestly. You have two lives. The second one starts when you realize you only have one. What is actually important? Because the stuff you accumulate, nobody cares about it.
What did you gain from going through that experience?
When it was over, it was like this lightness. You don't realize how much some of that weighs on you. And I'm not leaving that for my kids to have to deal with either.
So you've downsized your home. What does the future hold now? What are in the plans now that you've downsized?
We had a van custom built in Canada, which we thoroughly enjoy. We've taken it out for, several trips to national parks.
Hey.
Oh, wow. Beautiful design elements in here too. I can see right away. Was that you, Chandi? So you have the oven built in, right? That's solar powered from the top.
So we're good as long as we don't run out of sun.
Man, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got bigger problems about that.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Retirement is a time to enjoy the fruits of 35, 40-year careers. It's not really what we're focused on is how much money we can accumulate. It's how much we can enjoy the health we have that's left. But the downsizing has provided additional finances because it's smaller, it's cheaper. We own it. We don't owe anything on it. And so that's helped just give us flexibility to not worry about certain things.
How did that change the way you've thought about finances as you've made that transition and made these big plans? Engaging a trusted financial advisor is always a good idea on all things financial planning.
Pressure test the strategy. And if, I've got blind spots, I'm sure we all do.
About 1/3 of Americans are planning to leave assets to their next generation. Is this something that you all have talked about?
I will say that I hope we spend everything on adventures and that we leave them glorious memories.
There'll be things they get because
Yeah.
there just will be. There'll be houses and there'll be, I don't know what it'll be, but there'll be stuff. But it's not something we spend a lot of time thinking about. It's like, that's not our mission in life, is to see how much we can leave our kids. They're all smart and aggressive and they'll be fine. They'll navigate life like we have.
My parents are a lot younger than John's parents. They had me when they were really young. And I had this conversation with both of them. Just live and enjoy it. This is what you worked for. Enjoy it.
My dad did something really, really smart when he unexpectedly passed away a couple of years ago. It was we knew exactly where to go, and it was all organized, and there was no question as to where things were or how it worked. It was incredibly well organized, and so I've taken that as a to-do, and same thing, right? All your stuff is in a place that makes the people who have to deal with it, it'll be easy.
And the memories are among the most cherished assets that you can pass along. There's no question about that. You have 5 children. Some of those have already started to have grandchildren for you. How have grandchildren played a role in these plans that you have?
It's been really fun. We went out to Memphis, where our oldest daughter lives. Our granddaughters had a grandparents' day. And then fast forward to this last weekend, we had our grandson for the weekend, and I built a train with him on the floor and building fun memories.
We're flexible, not nothing keeping us from doing stuff with family.
So you're making this transition into retirement. You're still balancing a career and also having more time to spend on things like travel. But I think there's a larger list, a more robust list of hobbies that you all have. Can you tell me a little bit about what you have going on here, John?
Bake a few loaves of sourdough, and that's turned into a 6-loaf-a-week hobby.
So do we get to try it today, or?
Would you like to?
And you're cutting on a cutting board that you made.
I did.
And Chandi, you're contributing to the hobby in your own way by sewing these bags for them.
They're cooled down. You want to keep them in a bag that's beeswax lined, so it keeps them fresh for longer.
And then share your love with family and friends. Wow.
The Owens story shows that legacy is shaped by everyday moments, not just what's passed down. Every path is different, and we're here to help you find what makes your life rich.
What are some of those things that just would bring you the most joy, help you find the most rich life?
Make sure we're having time to spend with each other, but also with our kids and our grandkids.
Life is short, eternity is long. Always having time for each other first, enjoying what's left of life.
What advice would you give people that are entering this phase of life?
The law of compounding is real. Take some risk, but be disciplined.
You're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen, and to learn from them.
And who would you lean on when those mistakes happen?
Well, you have to have a good partner in life. So
How would you define rich?
years ago, it would have been a rich person has these things or wears these things. Now I look and think my relationships, my marriage, and our kids.
When they choose to walk to your house and 3 or 4 times a week and the grandkid runs in and calls us by grandpa, grandma and wants to hang out, that's rich, right? That's not stuff, but it's memories. That's what makes our life feel rich.